It's been an absolutely wild week for competitive Splatoon 3. Insane weekly runs, massive lands, and of course, the peak of it all, the Splatoon 3 World Championships. My name's Chardonian, and let's break it all down in this week's episode of the Weekly Ink. Before we dive headfirst into the main highlights, let's quickly talk about some of the other wins for the week. Oceania's been thriving recently between Worlds and the 7th edition of Blue Ring Rumble, which ended in a dominant victory for Never Back Down, Never What? On the other side of Dapple's events, Paddling Pool was taken by AEA after a really fun set against Chipotle last Wednesday. H2O's second qualifier was claimed by Frutella in a tight bracket reset against X. And while technically we're a little late to talk about it, Off the Dial's Creator Clash Season 3 ended in a victory for Chewed Carrots, a team composed of Vapor, Strike, Vasco, and Draculor. Don't worry, our IPL staff will get the run back next time. Now, with everything else quickly broken down, let's get started with the peaks of this week. Swimmer Sync has been the center of a bit of controversy after last week's tournament ended in this clip of the grand final set between Denny's regulars and Jelly plus straight equals flops, which highlights two attempted crack and cheese it at once, ending in a frankly insane reverse sweep in overtime for Jelly. As clips like these continue to circulate, the discussion around potential bans for things like Kraken Royale and Clam Blitz and Sniper Rider 5H continue to grow as well, to the point the TO's Guild put out a survey asking for player feedback on potential bans and restrictions. And some events, like Proving Grounds, have even gone as far as to begin experimenting with placing their own bans to see how people feel about it. So, well, technically it's not a tournament. We're going to be sure to keep you guys updated on the ban situation every given week, as it's an ever more prevalent issue that affects everyone in our community. Shifting over to the lands of the week, Metro Inc. came out absolutely swinging with the Big Dapple 4, a massive land tournament based out of New York. It ended in a fire set between Fuego Calamari and Phantom Eels that I'd heavily recommend everybody watching full, link down in the description. And the reveal of Gridlock 2024, Metro Inc.'s major land tournament. Be sure to keep an eye out, as it'll likely be one of, if not the best tournaments of the year. Well, with everything else covered, it's time to break down that 7-7-7 win, baby. Over the weekend, Jackpot claimed their title as the Splatoon 3 World Championships after a crazy 2 days of competition against the best in the world. Day 1 featured 2 groups of pools, with each pool having 3 teams. The format was best of 3 on random stages at Turf War, which was certainly something. Jackpot pretty easily swept through their side of the pool, with Greasy Goblins also managing to pick up a win on Unadons in their sets, respectively. On the other side of pools, Phantom Thief held a run very similar to Jackpot's, beating Kaiser and Smart Roast Chickens to place themselves as the top seed for their half. Kaiser also beat the Chickens 2-0, placing in the middle of the pack and leaving the Chickens in last. These seeds placed players into a final bracket for Day 2, with Jackpot and Phantom Thieves getting byes into the semifinals since they won first in their pools. To start Day 2, we saw Kaiser beat Unadon in a clean 3-0, but I'm gonna give a special shout out to Unadon for running just the wildest comps, dude. They have a dedicated Dapples player, a Tent player. On Day 2, they were running Tetra and Dapple. They never once ran a cooler. I mean, look, these guys just rule, man. Shouts to them for playing the game in such a unique way. It was awesome to watch, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future. Back onto the bracket, we saw history get made in the set between Smart Roast Chickens and Greasy Goblins, as the Goblins won 3-0 and became the first AU team to ever make it that far in Worlds. A massive accomplishment for those players. And while they did unfortunately bow out against Phantom Thieves, they did phenomenally this tournament and should be proud of how far they got. Now, the other half of semifinals, that right there is a contender, in my opinion, for one of the best sets of all time. Jackpot vs. Kaiser was a tense nail-biter of a set all the way to the finish. Kaiser started out by taking the first 2 games against Jackpot pretty convincingly, with Zera's Stamper proving to be a massive problem for the team to deal with. But, back to the wall, Jackpot managed to clutch up and take the next 3 games, ending in a frankly insane Turf War game on Humpback to close out one of the best sets to watch in Splatoon history. Seriously, if you haven't seen it yet, please do yourself a favor and go watch it. It was absolutely incredible. Grand Final started with a wild Game 1, as Phantom Thief managed a massive push early in the game and a dominant showing against Jackpot. But that lead didn't last for long, as we saw Jackpot expertly cycle the tower and trade picks fast enough to run it all the way back to a KO. Game 2 went to Flounder Zones, which saw both teams running very unique cooler weapons in Heavyetta and Dynamo, respectively. After tense back and forth during the first stretch of the game, a couple clean picks left Jackpot victim to the classic Flounder lockout, evening the score to 1-1 in Phantom Thief's favor. Game 3 went to Mako Mart Clan Blitz, where Jackpot's fast and aggressive play style carried them to a clean victory. That momentum didn't stop going into Game 4, where despite a somewhat rocky start against the Phantom Thieves, they managed to run the Rainmaker all the way up to just 7 points remaining, all but securing the game. Game 5 was much the same, with the team working really hard to return the favor of the lockout from Flounder. Despite many attempted pushes, multiple vac cheeses, and more from the Phantom Thief of Hearts, it just was not enough to deal with Jackpot's raw pressure. And for the first time since 2017, North America has won the Splatoon World Championships. Massive congratulations to Jackpot for taking it all. Can't wait to see what's next for you. Massive shoutouts to Phantom Thieves as well for being such incredible players and being such good sports about the whole thing. And massive shoutouts to all the teams. And on that note, that just about wraps up this week's edition of the Weekly. Let us know what you think down in the comments, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Like, subscribe, and have a good one. But seriously, let us know what you think down in the comments. This is a new format for us. We're still messing around with it a little bit, still subject to change, so you know, if there's things you want to see, let us know. Also, we will have other people doing this week by week for voiceover, so, you know, keep an eye out.